Hey, I'm Niba, and today we're going to be making tons of microbes and then drinking them. So here I share my notes on nature, beauty, and the nature of beauty. And since beauty starts from within, that's where this drink comes in. This is kanji, a probiotic drink. I'm really hoping that nothing is growing in here that's not supposed to be. And really, how risky is it? Because humans have been having fermented foods for thousands of years, and the fridge is less than a century old. And before that, pretty much all of our food was slightly fermenting at all times, which actually was really good for our gut health. And now we're kind of having to bring back in those probiotics and things that are slightly fermented to keep our guts healthy. I'm going to share you my notes on how to make kanji and then the results of what happens to me after I drink it every single day for a whole week. So I have dabbled in making fermented things before, but I've never made kanji. How hard could it be? For more stories about beauty and nature, you can check out my socials. I'm at NotesByNiba on all platforms. And for now, you can like, comment, and subscribe, and then let's get into making this drink. We're going to be making 1.5 liters of kanji, which sounds like a lot, but it's actually about 6 cups, which I think will be enough to get me through the entire week. I'm mostly using the recipe from Indicious, and I'll tag them below, but I kind of want to try a thing where I'll do one jar where it's their original recipe, and then I'm going to do another jar where it's going to be a few more modifications for flavors that I think I might like, but who knows, maybe the fermentation process will make them taste terrible or taste great. We'll find out. Alrighty, let's break it down. The base of this is going to be 280 grams of purple carrots, which is approximately 4-ish carrots. I wouldn't worry too much about the exact measurements. The important thing is keeping your ratios of stuff mostly the same. So for example, if you want about double the amount of carrots as the amount of beetroot. And then for beetroot, you want 130 grams of beetroot, which is approximately 1-ish medium-sized beetroot. If you can't find a whole beet, you can also get them packaged like these ones. These ones here are pre-cooked and they don't have the skin, but it'll still work. It'll just give you slightly fewer probiotics. So we're not going to be taking the skins off of the carrots and the beetroot because the skin has a lot of healthy things that we want to be eating and also helps with the fermentation. But since we're not skinning it, that's why we really need to make sure that it is thoroughly washed. Ideally, you'd want to pick ones that come from farms that don't use pesticides at all, but those farms are quite rare. So this is why I'm just standing at the sink scrubbing it for a very long time. Next, you're going to want some small brown mustard seeds. Brown mustard seeds have kind of a milder flavor compared to black mustard seeds, which are a bit more pungent and intense. I accidentally got black mustard seeds, but I love strong flavors of mustard, and I also didn't want to really make another trip to the store, so here we are. By the way, you can also use mustard seeds to ferment mustard. In case you didn't know, mustard is also a fermented thing. In one of the jars, I added a couple spices, like the red chili powder that I'm showing here. This will add, hopefully a nice little kick to the kanji. I think you can probably adjust the amount to suit your taste preferences, but I bet you can also add things like, I don't know, fennel and garlic and ginger and bay leaf and that kind of thing. But for the sake of this experiment, I just wanted to make one change and then see how it goes because, it's my first time making it. And then you're going to want a bunch of salt. You definitely want to use the purest salt you can find, like sea salt or Himalayan rock salt. You want to avoid table salt because it has iodine and anti-caking agents that might interfere with the fermentation. And then next is some drinking water. And for this, you really want to make sure it's clean and filtered to avoid any impurities that could affect the fermentation process. For me, since I live in San Francisco, our water is generally pretty good, but I went ahead and boiled it just in case that, I don't know, changed anything as well. And then I made sure the water was down at room temperature, because if you pour boiling water, it's going to kill a bunch of the microbes, which is not what we want in this case. For equipment, you're going to need some jars to hold your kanji in. For me, I used 2 glass jars, but if you have 1 mega jar or you want to do a couple smaller ones, that also totally works. You can either use just a jar and a clean cloth or handkerchief and a rubber band to cover the jar and let it breathe, or you can do what I did, which is just have a regular jar with a lid and be willing to burp the jar every single day, ideally twice a day, so that way it just releases the gases of the fermentation so it doesn't explode. Once a day is really the minimum, but as you'll see in a bit, I don't actually even do that, so it's pretty flexible. And that's everything you need. So now let's move on to making the kanji. So the first thing is we want to increase the surface area of all of the vegetables. So we're going to cut all of the purple carrots and cut all of the beets into these French fry shaped sticks. We are human and a lot of our cells are human, but inside of us there's also a lot of non-human cells that we have a very healthy and helpful relationship with, especially in our gut. And in the past, we used to have lots and lots of these partnerships, but between like modern life and processed food, a lot of our guts are now missing those like healthy partnerships. And especially if you have a course of antibiotics, that can like totally wipe out your gut flora. This year, for some reason, I haven't gotten sick, but last year I got so sick I had to take antibiotics 4 times. And luckily it didn't cause any reactions in me, but I just know that all those like symbiotic relationships in my gut were like absolutely destroyed. But the good news is that once they're gone, they're not gone forever. One thing that really helps revive them is having probiotic drinks, probiotic foods, and so that's what this week-long experiment is all about. I'm going to be drinking kanji every single day for a week and just seeing how it affects my mental state, my body, and just overall well-being. A lot of traditional foods are fermented, and in India specifically, people typically have eaten a lot of fermented foods. Like growing up, my mom would make fermented drinks, or like pickles, or even like dosa batter was fermented, but because she never used the word fermented, I didn't realize that that's what she was doing. So the very first thing I ever tried fermenting was beet kvass, which is like a probiotic drink from Russia, and both kanji and beet kvass both have like beetroot, but they do have some differences in what goes into them, so I'm curious to see what the taste will be like. I like a lot of fermented foods like kimchi and mustard and, you know, miso. Those are all fermented, so I'm guessing this will probably be pretty yummy and very umami. This drink is supposed to help with digestion, and since it's got this like very lovely purple color, apparently it's really popular during Holi, which is the festival of colors. I've never had a chance to attend a Holi festival in India or in the States, but one day I will, and maybe I'll get a chance to drink this there too. But for now, we're drinking the drink. And then we want to increase the surface area of the spices. In this case, it's really only the mustard that's whole, so I'm gonna grind it and... no, never mind. I really messed up in here. I didn't cover the mortar with my hand. Cool. Yeah, I guess I just forgot. I'll just clean all of this up and add it directly because that will be easier than attempting this again. But I really want to make sure the mustard seeds are in there because they are really known for their detoxifying properties. And yeah, I could really use a lot of that right now. Going through a breakup definitely makes me want to detoxify. I did about a tablespoon of mustard seeds, and then I added about 2.5 teaspoons of chili powder to the other jar. And oh, I should also mention that these jars need to be clean, like ideally sterilized clean. I just used jars that I'd run through my dishwasher and pop the lid on like immediately. The other thing that'll help is salt, because salt is really crucial for the fermentation process. It helps prevent the growth of like unwanted bacteria and mold. So you should add about like 2 to 2.5% of salt for the total weight of the veggies used. It might seem like a lot, but it really ensures the success of the ferment and balances out over time, because in this fermentation there's a lot of sweetness from the carrots and the beetroot, and there's also acids produced during the fermentation, so it like nets out to be like a pretty good flavor. And then the very last thing is I added a bit of water and then mixed everything around, gave it like extra mixing just to make sure it was like thoroughly submerged and dissolved and whatever. And then you want to make sure all the veggies are totally submerged in all of the water. If any part of it is like sticking out, that's a pretty good formula for getting unwanted bacteria or mold. So that's why you really want to make sure the jar is topped off to the very, very top. And then lastly, the jar can go into any kind of like warm spot in your kitchen. Ideally, you want someplace that doesn't have like a lot of wind, a lot of sun. Honestly, it looks really good. I know I'm kind of biased because I love purple, but yeah, what do you think? So as the reaction happens, there's going to be bubbles, and I don't want it to accidentally leak out, so I'm going to put this on the bottom just in case. Okay. Bye! And after a couple days, this bottle here is going to be packed with probiotics. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm currently going through the worst breakup of my life, and I totally just did not have the energy to look at these on day 1. So here's day 2, but you can see that they're like foaming at the top, and there's like these bubbles and stuff, and that's from the reaction of the microbes and whatnot. And I'm really hoping that they don't explode everywhere. Yeah, that would be unideal. 1 jar down, that one's great. This one's a lot tighter. 2nd jar down. It smells like very sweet, very carroty for sure. And then the one with the chili smells like, you can definitely smell the chili, but it's also still very sweet. I kind of want to taste them a little bit. Maybe that will, I don't know, cure me of the breakup blues, but I kind of want to give it a little bit more to ferment. So back into the corner of shame it goes. Oh no, it definitely did spill. What do you think? Okay, it's kind of hard to open, which means there's a lot of gas in there, so I really hope it doesn't explode. It is like not opening. Something really fermented yesterday. There we go. Oh, that smells so good. Can you see that? All right, day 5 of fermenting. Let's see what we're at. My brain is definitely fermenting. Oh yeah, it smells much better, and it's definitely fermenting. I almost feel like I could maybe give it like one more day. Honestly, my mental health isn't doing that great, so maybe I will give it one more day. So admittedly, I had another depresso day yesterday. Now these things have fermented a little bit more than I would have liked. They've now been fermenting for a few hours shy of 7 days, so I'm hoping it just makes them really dank, but we'll find out. So it's really important to mix everything all together. Oh, it just like exploded a little bit after I did that. I'm gonna try and pour it into this. Love the way it instantly poured everywhere. Cheers. Ooh, that's really good. It's kind of like it tastes almost like a yogurt mixed with carrot and salt. Like a flavored buttermilk almost. Now to try the chili one. Cheers. That one is so much better. It's not even like spicier, it's just like more flavorful. Hi, this is now D2 of drinking this stuff. I don't know if it's these microbes or my therapy session or if just my willpower has come back, but I'm starting to feel a lot less depressed. And even if this is placebo, I don't care, it's finally working. This jar is definitely not meant to be holding this stuff because it has spilled so much that I'm just keeping this paper towel underneath it at all times now. Today is kanji day 3. I forgot to mention, I've actually been drinking about maybe 2 ounces total per day. Like 1 from this kind of like unflavored no chili jar, and then 1 from this like chili jar. At least it's easier to open when it's not fermenting anymore. I have to admit, pooping has become a lot easier since I started drinking this. I don't know if it's this or if it's something else that's changed, but like, this is supposed to have a pretty big effect on the gut. And when I tell you these poops are coming out like perfect, I feel like it might be this. Tomorrow I'm also going to Tahoe with a bunch of friends, so I'm going to bring this with me to keep the experiment going. And maybe I'll make them drink it too and give you guys a like taste palette overview and rating of my at-home microbes that I've grown for everyone to eat. Salty.
I wasn't expecting it to be salty. I'm definitely getting like the beets for sure.
Giving it like a little pickly.
Yeah, a little pickle kind of thing, but it's not as like strong as I expected it to be honest, which I kind of like. That was really well balanced.
I feel like a bartender. Wow.
Yeah, it's like beet pickle juice.
Beet pickle juice?
Electrolyzing. It would definitely be restorative update. It's getting a carrot flavor.
It's also giving spilling it on the floor.
Honestly, I think I like the other one. The other one's like more intense. You would probably drink more of this one. This is for the normies. Yeah, this is for the normies.
They kind of taste the same, actually. I mean, I don't like the flavor. I think that's why. Yeah, I'm not a beet person, I think. Yeah, I know people would go crazy for this at their local Erewhon, so.
At their local Erewhon?
Yeah.
It's the final day of the kanji challenge. Here's my last glass before I go off to dance. I've now officially made my own probiotics and drank them every single day for 7 days. Was it worth it? I'd say the main thing I've noticed is that my mood has definitely improved, which it's hard to say if that's because of the probiotics, because I'm definitely going through a lot of life changes right now. But there are a lot of scientific studies that link gut health and microbiome with your mood, and I think it would not be totally out of the realm of possibilities to say that this is definitely contributing. Digestion-wise, I would say that it's working a little bit better than normal, which is really good because like half the days I've been doing this challenge, I've been eating like trash. So it's been really nice to have everything working properly. Some people have a lot of changes in skin after having probiotics. I personally didn't experience it, but I think this is something that would vary a lot person to person. The main downside of this whole thing has been that it was kind of hard to drink this every day. Like transporting a liter and a half of this to and from Tahoe, 5 hours each way, was definitely not easy, but I really wanted to share it with my friends and get their take on what it tasted like, so it was definitely worth it. But like that obviously wouldn't be a problem if you're not traveling. My main tip is that I really recommend adding like spices and flavorings that you enjoy. I do wish I'd added like some garlic or ginger or cumin or turmeric, because the version with the spices definitely tasted better and the version without the spices was definitely like stronger, but like only one directionally flavored. And I don't know if that's because like maybe the spices make it hard for the microbes to go, or maybe the spices make it so that only like certain types of microbes can grow. But whatever the case, the increased spice level or just like flavorings in general definitely improves the drink. My other tip is that this stuff definitely tastes better when it's cold, so I highly recommend having it straight out of the fridge. And then my last little bonus tip is that the vegetables that are in the jar, those are totally edible as well and have tons of probiotics, and they will keep for weeks in your fridge. So right now I'm just kind of eating them as a little snack, but I don't really know how to like pair it with anything, so I've just been eating them raw, which isn't like the most amazing thing. So I'm gonna experiment around, but if you have any ideas, feel free to comment or DM me, because having these like raw fermented carrots is definitely not the most delicious. For the future, I would totally continue drinking kanji every single day. I do think that since I have a lot of travel coming up, stay tuned for some vlogs of South Korea and London and stuff. With the travel, I just don't think I'm gonna have like the physical energy and the mental space to make and drink and like keep an eye on it and all of that stuff. But once I'm like in a more restful position again, I will definitely be drinking more probiotics. If there's anything else you'd like me to grow and eat, feel free to let me know, and I'll see you on the next page.
You're so tall. You need to go backwards.
One of the reasons I chose it is honestly for the aesthetic. Like, purple is my favorite color, in case you couldn't tell.